The bodies are real. They come from people who left instructions while alive that their bodies should be donated for plastination after their deaths, in order to help educate future generations.
These modern mummies, preserved skinless human cadavers, are the latest fad in the exhibition world. People have lined up in cities like New York, Houston, Tokyo, and London to see real human bodies on display. But where do these bodies come from? In China, a bizarre new industry has emerged.
In China, there's a big
that
freaking
preserve
surprise,
and produce
right?
human corpses for museum exhibitions. I'm going to take you to one of the biggest factories. Dr. von Hagens, a controversial German medical doctor, is the creator of Body Worlds, the first wildly successful anatomy exhibition that has spawned several imitators. He has been dubbed Dr. Death in Dr. Frankenstein by those who for more than a decade have questioned the source of his cadavers and how he displays them. But a few weeks ago, he agreed to a lengthy interview and a tour of what he calls his Chinese manufacturing facility, located in a series of unmarked buildings. Dr. von Hagen says he wants to clear up the confusion about his work and that of his competitors.
I want to be the basics of anatomy. So as long as in my lifetime, before I'm the president of my exhibition itself, I think
How'd you like to work for this guy?
I should be the leading inventor, developer, figure in plastination when it comes to technology, when it comes to quality, to masterpiece of anatomy, when it comes to ethical standards.
She almost never takes off. Dr. von Hagens took me and another journalist through a campus filled with underground bunkers, dissection rooms, and a warehouse crowded with steel containers holding human and animal remains. When we arrived in the storage area, he called on his workers to open everything. He wanted to show off his prized specimens, human and animal cadavers that he planned to preserve through a process he invented and patented called plastination. In one underground bunker, his staff pulled a bear out of a container that, he said, had just come from a German zoo. And when they lifted the lid on another, there were several human bodies floating in formaldehyde. Many shows featuring preserved human cadavers have been accused of using unclaimed Chinese bodies, mostly from Europe. Once inside his factory, a team of workers dissects the corpses or saws them into slices while frozen. Later, body fluids are removed and eventually replaced with a soft polymer or plastic, creating a human plastinated specimen. The final stage is the positioning room, where about 50 medical school graduates clean the bodies and pose them in lifelike positions for the traveling exhibitions. This factory is also big business. Besides the vast millions made on exhibitions, part of this facility is producing books, DVDs, toys, and anatomy games for schools. The business is so big that several other Chinese entrepreneurs are jumping in, including some of Dr. von Hagen's former employees.
Copying, flattery is the best.
Oh, here he is.
Here's
Isaac.
Recognition, you know. Everything also successful in the world is copy. So there's no problem.
Dr. von Hagens calls their work shoddy and hints that some of them may be obtaining bodies illegally. The Chinese authorities are now investigating whether these factories are fostering an illegal trade in human corpses. In the past week, the Chinese authorities have put out new regulations outlawing the buying or selling of human bodies or body parts. They've also introduced new restrictions on the import and export of human bodies. Still, several Chinese workers here said they come because it's difficult to find work after medical school. And Dr. von Hagens, he says he came to China because it's the world's factory floor.
It's possible to permanently display the inside of a body in a more fascinating and aesthetic way than ever before. Dry and odorless, these specimens are practically imperishable, allowing them to be handled and understood in a very real way. This makes plastinates invaluable, not only for the training of future doctors, but also for educating medically interested laymen.
It's artistic, I'll give you that.
Come from people who left instructions while alive that their bodies should be donated for plastination after their deaths, in order to help educate future generations. To prepare a body for plastination, it's first necessary to halt its decay. To do this, a solution of formaldehyde is introduced into the body's arterial system. After approximately 3 to 4 hours, the body's whole arterial system has been filled. This destroys all the bacteria. The body will no longer decay, and the anatomical preparation, that is, the laying bare of its anatomical structures such as organs, muscles, sinews, and nerves, can begin. First, the skin and subcutaneous fat are removed. The organs, muscles, and sinews, as well as the nerves of the body, are all surrounded by a thin layer of fibrous connective tissue. This tissue is carefully removed with a scalpel and forceps, enabling the individual anatomical structures to appear. Alongside a good anatomical knowledge and manual skill, preparation requires much patience. Preparing a whole body can take anything up to 800 hours of work. After preparation, the actual process of plastination begins. In the first step, the water and soluble fat in the body are replaced by a solvent. For this, the prepared body is laid in a cold acetone bath at -25 degrees. The acetone, which is still liquid at this temperature, gradually becomes diluted with the body's own water. This dilution makes it necessary to replace the acetone bath several times. The water concentration in the acetone bath is continuously monitored in the laboratory. When no more water can be measured in the bath, the body is classed as water-free. The acetone is then warmed to room temperature to dissolve soluble body fat from the tissue. This process of dehydration and defatting takes approximately 3 to 4 months. The next step is the main process of plastination, forced vacuum impregnation. The acetone-soaked specimen is laid in a bath of liquid silicone and subjected to a vacuum. The vacuum sucks the acetone out of the specimen, creating a loss of pressure in the tissue that pulls the silicone into every last cell of the body. Sleeping acetone collects in pearls on the surface of the silicone bath and is continuously sucked away. When no more acetone bubbles appear, the impregnation is complete. The process of impregnation takes about 6 to 8 weeks. The specimen is removed from its silicone bath and allowed to drip dry. In this state, it's still flexible and adaptable. After impregnation comes the positioning. The body is now placed in the desired pose. Its anatomical structures are also positioned with the help of needles. The plastinate is now permanently protected from decay. For plastination is sheet plastination. These thin, transparent slices, cut either through or along the body, are particularly suitable for displaying how the various positions of anatomical structures relate to each other. Slice by slice, their relative positions become visible down to the microscopic level, allowing individual deviations to be clearly viewed. For sheet plastinations, the dead body is first foamed with polyurethane and deep frozen at -70 degrees. The body is fixed in a block, allowing it to be sawed into millimeter-thin slices with a high-speed bandsaw. As in silicone plastination, these body sheets have their water and soluble fats removed with acetone before being vacuum impregnated with transparent epoxy resin.
lung and a smoker's lung right there?
Yeah.
And you wanna gaze into a mirror, mirroring a diamond shape of your soul. Wanna hear music sounding like the roar of thunder. Do you wanna lose all control? Just put one foot in front of the other. 'Cause all God's children God choose. Feel like you were never really here, yet it's time to leave. Then you got a dream. Then you got a dream. Then you got a dream. Then you got a dream.
Ain't that the truth?